everyone knows how I feel about the Fever offseason. I think they hit a home run. And, I joined in poking a little fun at the idea that players wouldn't want to join the Fever. But I said it in the past that the Fever would be an attractive destination in the future. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think they'd land all those players in one offseason. I'm not rewriting history. But I always subscribe to the notion of they've got an attractive player to play with in Caitlin Clark, right? Like if you're a basketball player at heart who wants to succeed and thrive on the floor, that is something you're looking at, not to mention the other aspects that come along with playing with Clark and for the Fever, that being, enhanced visibility, endorsement deals, stuff like that, in addition to just the basketball success. But there was a anecdote in a new piece in The Athletic, co-written by Ben Pickman. Shout out to Ben Pickman, regarding DeWanna Bonner. The piece in itself was about the Connecticut Sun and how that whole thing fell apart, and we'll still see how it shapes up and develops. But there was a bit of it that was captured online and shared by Vanche, who does a great job collecting things on social media. One of the best when it comes to pushing out WNBA content there. And all 5 of last season's regular starters left during this offseason's free agency, that about the Sun, including 3 who had spent their entire careers, a collective 23 seasons with the organization. One of those players, Alyssa Thomas, sought a move to a championship contender with superior facilities. The Lynx also explored trading for Thomas, league sources told The Athletic, and looked at signing her fiance and former Sun teammate DeWanna Bonner. Phoenix also heavily courted Bonner, league sources said, yet the desire to win immediately, among other factors, led to the Indiana Fever. So 2 things in that piece there. 2 things. One, the Minnesota Lynx. I didn't know they were a part of that whole deal. That's new information. And another contending team, mind you, a team that was in the WNBA finals last season and obviously nearly won the WNBA finals, and one could argue was robbed in the WNBA finals, right? But that's a new team being presented in this scenario. And then there's the other aspect of it, with the Phoenix Mercury. And we knew, of course, of Bonner's ties with Alyssa Thomas and why the Mercury were mentioned as a possible destination for Bonner for the entirety of the process, always listed as the favorite, but it being put specifically the desire to win now, which goes to show you what players around the league think about the core that the Indiana Fever have and the potential that the Indiana Fever have, right? And Bonner's a vet. This isn't somebody being swayed by hype. This is somebody who's been around the block and knows the deal. Obviously also knows the coach. So other factors that were mentioned there could be Stephanie White. Other factors that were mentioned there could be the, again, the attention and the attendance and the all the fan base, all the things that can come on the whatever other reasons Bonner has stated publicly since she went to the Fever, right? She outlined some of the reasons for that move. But win now is going to be the one that gets the most attention right now. And when you do talk about the possibility of the Fever winning right now, I've been over this a bunch, and I think they filled their holes wonderfully. I think Natasha Howard is such a big pickup for them, just in the ability to run the floor, catch, and finish, right? Like that they didn't have in the front court last year. I think when you add obviously some of even the ancillary moves, Colson shores up the backup point guard spot. Brianna Turner shores up the backup center spot. Interior defense, perimeter defense between the 2 of them. More shooting in Sophie Cunningham, with good toughness there too. Obviously DB, who I just talked about, versatility, toughness. This is a tougher Fever team, a better defensive Fever team, now a more talented offensive Fever team that was already really talented offensively just with the backcourt of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, the most unstoppable backcourt in the league. But now you got 5 players who are in the top 30 in scoring likely to be in the starting lineup if we're assuming it's going to be Boston, Bonner, Howard, Mitchell, and Clark. And so, I mean, the only hesitancy in saying that the Fever are the best team in the league to me is you got to see it actually happen. Like there is something to establish credentials and credit. The Liberty are the defending champions. They hoisted the trophy. They bringing back Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu and, Leonie Fibich and Jonquel Jones in that squad. And the Lynx were there, and they're bringing back Nafisa Collier, who's motivated as hell. I mean, she said it directly. She's motivated and wants to go out there and get it done. And who's to doubt her? And they got a great coach in Cheryl Reeve, and McBride is a baller. She's played really well in Unrivaled, and Courtney Williams and that team. So it's not as if they're head and shoulders above everybody else. But when I look at talent and ceiling, I think the Fever have the highest ceiling of anyone in the league. I do. That's not, to overhype them or anything or favoritism. I just think when you take what they had last year, you add another year of experience for Caitlin Clark, and you upgrade as much as they upgraded. Because I don't think you could say any team upgraded as much as the Fever did. And you would expect them to just improve from year one to year two, not to mention a coach. But when you upgrade a coach, you upgrade at 2 forward spots, you upgrade the bench, you upgrade the toughness, you upgrade the shooting, you upgrade the scoring, you upgrade the size, you upgrade the experience. And then you expect, Clark to get better, Clark and Mitchell to continue to work together the way that they did. There's a reason everybody keeps saying scary. I mean, Courtney Williams used that word from the Lynx, scary for the Fever. Not that she said they're not scared and she's not scared, but she did reference that with the team. I mean, this is now known around the league. And it's telling if DeWanna Bonner says she chose the Fever over the Lynx and Mercury to win now, amongst other factors. Now, maybe there weren't, the Mercury didn't necessarily have the greatest positional fit. And I think the Mercury, it's going to take them a bit to get there. I mean, they're rebuilding on the fly after losing the core of their team. So that part I get. But the Lynx were there. So to choose the Fever over them is saying something. And I think all of those players choosing the Fever said all you need to know. And now that all that's left to be said is happening at the start of the season.